Hello, and welcome to Health and Fitness Redefined. I am your host, Anthony Amen. Join me today as we take a dive into the world of health and fitness, where we learn how to overcome adversity, depict fact versus fiction, and see health and fitness in a whole new light. Today we have a very special guest on, Charlie. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Anthony.
I don't want to spoil anything by giving a bunch of intros, but why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do? I know you're a gym owner. Talk to us about why you got into fitness and why you decided to go that route.
Sure. I'm a local fitness owner. I have two gyms, one in Suffolk County and one in Nassau County. I actually started my first one back in 2012. We had sold that one out over in Suffolk, and we came out to Nassau. And then about a year and a half ago, we opened up our second location. It's a weird way. I guess we kind of got involved in it. We were down in Florida vacationing, quick story, and, it's a lot of senior citizens down there.
Yeah.
And my wife and I had just taken a look at each other and said, we want to make sure we grow old in a certain way and not be hunched over, and not be able to travel and enjoy life. When we got back, we found CrossFit. We tried it out, fell in love from there, and a couple of years later, I opened up my first location. And ever since then, it's just been a passion of mine.
So it's CrossFit-based fitness you guys are doing in your studio?
It is CrossFit-based. I unaffiliated about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
But we still train functional fitness for all intents and purposes, it's CrossFit
And
style.
what's your general clientele that you work with?
So I'm pretty much anywhere from the age of 18, and I believe my oldest client is like 68. So we do have, your group of young athletes or people who have aspirations to be athletes, but we definitely train more my age group. So I probably...
So 20.
20. I probably attract more my age group from, let's say, the mid-30s to in the 50s.
That's awesome, man. And I'm sure you have some awesome stories from experiencing
Plenty.
it. So why don't you share one of this? What's like a story that sticks out from a client that went through your place and now just has it all together?
So we have a lot, just like everybody else, I'm sure, out there. But I'm going to take one client in particular who is this lady. She's in her 50s, and when she came to us, she hadn't exercised in years. She was on medications. She had certain autoimmune issues and had a couple of blood issues.
Okay.
And the doctors thought it was just something that she was going to be able to handle. About 4 months into training with us, I got a letter from her, an email from her, and then I got a phone call from her, and in the phone call, she's crying. And it was the first time that, she was off her medications. The doctors couldn't believe it. She passed all her breath tests. She didn't need any of the medications and stuff like that. So those type of stories you don't hear a lot of, but that is what happens really inside of our gyms.
That's insane. In 4 months, you're able to take this woman from basically hearing from doctors, oh, no, this is the end of it. Like, there's nothing we can do, to bring them all. I totally relate.
Well, it's the truth, right? That is really what we do inside of our studios. I know people, and as of late, depict us a certain way where we weren't even considered essential or a professional service, but we really do help a lot of people, and we know our clients better probably than any doctor or any other field out there. We spend a lot of time with these people, and we really do a service for everybody, I think.
I couldn't agree more. Let me talk about that a little bit. So fitness is essential. I don't want to talk about it. I want to hear from you. Why is fitness essential? Why don't you give us a little rundown on that?
So, I don't think anybody really gave it much attention until COVID came out, right? And even when COVID-19 came out, it wasn't until the phases that I think any of us even thought about any of this, because they had put certain groups in these phases. And when gyms weren't considered essential, I don't think we all went and said, hey, we are. I think as a whole, as a collective in the industry, we thought we were essential, but when you're looking at it and you're thinking doctors, nurses, first responders, things like that you would automatically think essential. So, I consider what we do to be an essential service as far as keeping America healthy and fit and, helping fight obesity and diabetes and chronic disease. I do. But I understood it, I guess, why we weren't in that field. I mean, I can have my own opinions on it, But the one that got me was we weren't a professional service. That's where you lost me. That, okay, so gyms and those type of things were not essential. You can make an argument. But to not even be a professional service, I think that one took us back a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually originally thought we were a professional service, and then turns out after phase 3 passed, guess what? We're not.
Right.
And then on top of that, what happened? Cuomo took gyms out all in general from every phase.
Yeah, what ended up for me at least happening was when you started out phase 1, phase 2, and then not in phase 3, you had to go all the way over to recreation. And it still wasn't clear that we were even in there. For the longest time, a gym didn't even know what phase we were in. Some were saying, oh, maybe it's 3, maybe it's here, maybe it's... It wasn't until we got clarity from the Sports and Recreation, which came out on gov.org, to see that gyms as a collective group fell underneath Sports and Recreation. And it wasn't just gyms. It was yoga studios. It was Pilates. It was mixed martial arts. Regular, your classic gyms, your CrossFit, your personal trainers, everything just fell underneath recreation. So that was pretty tough to swallow as well. But yeah, we did.
And how do your clients feel about this?
I think as a whole, when it first started, I want to say everybody was like, we're just doing the right thing for our members, for your community, right? So I don't think there was much there. Everybody felt the same, right? We're going to close for 2 weeks, and we're going to reevaluate in 2 weeks. I think once 1 month came in, then 2 months came in, and now after that point in time that we were phase 4, that was a lot to take in. And you had to, as a gym owner, if you could, you had to adapt right there. You were probably already doing Zoom calls. At that point, we rented out equipment from both my locations. So we probably had about $60,000 worth of equipment out there to try to keep members going. We did free nutrition counseling. We did free one-on-one Zooms. We were private programming for individuals. So I think at that point, we were just trying to keep our community together the best we could, whether it was through emails, Zoom, fun things that you could kind of do together to keep your community together. So again, in the beginning, it was what we were all doing. And as it went along, and figured out what phase we were, it became very tough. It became tough on our members and, on all gym owners as well.
Yeah, it's something I noticed, that phase approach that we felt throughout it, where it was, here's a service, this is free. Let's keep our members constantly engaged. And right about the time phase 3 was about to come out, that's when the shift kind of changed. We got to start charging for this. We got to start charging for that, because it was hitting our bottom line.
Right. I mean, for us, it wasn't even so much the bottom line. It was just, what are we going to do to take care of the bills that you had to, right? So you still had to come up and pay your insurance, right? I mean, God forbid something happened inside your place that you were renting. Gas bill, your electric bill, all those things still needed to be paid for. Plus, we all, I'm sure, had debt with inside the gyms. If you were just opening, you had equipment that you had to pay off. So all these things, all these stressors had to come in, and what were we going to do about it? We did not, the PPP that people got, and I'm tired of hearing about PPP, because people want to use that on small businesses. First of all, small businesses classified is 500 employees. That's not small to me.
That's huge.
Okay, that's a big company, but that's how it falls underneath. We, gym owners, generally speaking, are payroll light, rent heavy. Therefore, under the parameters of the PPP, it didn't work for us. So even getting it didn't help, because PPP was supposed to cover 2 months of expenses. But if you are payroll light and rent heavy, that's not even going to cover 1 day of expenses. And then you found out that the bigger banks were giving it to their major clients.
Yep.
And we were getting squeezed out of that they even had to add money. Matter of fact, we just found out recently, because they released the PPP and who got it, to find out that Mitch McConnell's wife got it, that Nancy Pelosi's husband got it. These people are wealthy, like beyond wealthy. $115 million, I believe, is the estimate for Nancy Pelosi's husband. But they received PPP. So that really didn't benefit us. So we had to get creative to pay those bills while everything is still mounting.
Yeah.
And here we are almost 5 months now.
Yeah, and same thing for me, which I'm sure for you, I know a lot of gym owners, is our trainers are mostly independent contractors.
Right.
They're all 1099, which is something we give as a benefit to our trainers so they can train privately outside of our studio, where that PPP didn't account for that.
No.
So we got close to zero, just something that was supposed to hold us over for months.
Yeah. It was, again, the original part of it was for 2 months because that was the original guess from the Fed that that's how long this was supposed to be. So when they figured all that out and they gave you that formula was specific. It was for 2 months.
Correct.
We are now going into month 5. Okay? Phase 4 is over. In case anybody listening didn't know, Phase 4 is over in upstate New York and in Long Island. Okay? It's next week. It's supposed to be done for Manhattan as well. We're now past all of that. We're still not open. We're going into 5 months. So you're talking, if that 2 months for PPP, then that is 3 months where there's nothing. There's no mention of anything coming for us. There's no talk for us. There's no guidance for us. So we're just pretty much hanging out in the wind at this point in time.
Yeah, and I hear, I'm sure the same as you do, everyone says go outside. Oh, just train outside, just train outside. And why don't you talk a little bit about that, and then I'll kind of follow up with it.
Sure.
Why that doesn't work.
I actually love that one. So that's one I've gotten a lot, and I have some good answers for that. So I want to know the people who are asking it. So that's generally my first thing. So if I'm talking to someone, I want to know, are you a person that goes out to eat? Did you go to the restaurants? Did you go to Target? Did you go to Home Depot? Did you go to Lowe's? Did you go to the food store? Did you do all those things? And when you're at Target and Walmart, did you browse around for some clothes or something like that? Generally speaking, that's who's asking us the question. So you can do exercise outside. You can. I'll tell you what else you can do from your home. You can order food. You can food shop from home. You can order all your clothes from home. You can pray from home. You can go to school from home. There's nothing you can't do from home outside of having to go see a doctor. So in that...
Not anymore, actually. Telemedicine.
Telemedicine. But unless you were really sick, that I get. So outside of that, every single thing I just mentioned can all be done from the luxury of your home. So why is everything not okay to be done from your home? The service that we provide, if it was so easy, right? If it was so easy, then someone needs to explain to me while 80% of the country is obese. Somebody needs to explain to me why our diabetes rate is through the roof. Somebody needs to explain to me why chronic disease is such a major problem here. If it was so simple and you didn't need a gym and you didn't need a trainer or you didn't need any advice or you didn't need any accountability or push, then why do we have all these problems? Why is Weight Watchers $1 million company? Jenny Craig, $1 million company. Why are all these places that people go to for community, for support, why are they $1 million companies? Why is the fitness industry $1 billion plus company? I believe it's close to $10 billion.
It's close to that number.
Why is that? So yes, I can go outside and get some exercise, but it is not the same as going into a gym. It is not the same as having a trainer. I can teach myself how to play baseball, but can I become a pro? We serve a purpose for a majority of people that come into our gym. Okay, so yes, you can do it inside or outside. You can do everything I mentioned as well inside your home. So under that premise and under that logic, I guess we should all just still be home.
Yeah. That was a really good answer. And I'm just going to add a little bit to that.
Sure.
For inside home training, you kind of talked about it. Now in the head, why aren't you doing it in the first place? Well, how many people right now are sitting at home eating ice cream or ordering McDonald's? Or you're not going to work out. Why would you work out? There's the TV's right there. You can go watch your favorite show on Netflix.
The accountability, that we provide really goes a long way. That when you get into the gym and you're going to take, I can talk from my perspective because we're group training. I know for me, when I first started and I got to the gym, I was staying there for that hour. I wasn't turning around. I wasn't going back home. It was programmed for me. There was a coach there to guide me. The energy and the vibe from the community is what kept you moving, what kept you to finish that workout. And then you start to see progress. You start to see yourself moving faster, getting better. When you are at home or you are outside, although it is something to do, and I applaud anybody who's a self-motivator that can do it. Awesome. That really is great. And doing that is better than nothing. But you are easily distracted. You can figure out 100 excuses to stop, okay? And I'm talking the majority of people. I'm not talking the person who is a self-motivator and can do everything we can do from that. That's a rare breed. So to me, that logic and that argument doesn't hold water. And I'm not too sure why it's relevant. Because again, I can do everything from home. So if I can do everything from home, well, I guess in that sense, that's where we should all be.
Yeah, and it's the COVID-19 everyone talks about. Hey, I gained 19 pounds during COVID-19.
I did hear that, yes. I did hear that.
And it's something to even talk about. If this is such a big thing that everyone can self-motivate themselves, why are they predicting the obesity rate has jumped over 20% in the last few months?
I agree. Because being at home, it was the middle of a pandemic, and, people were feeling defeated. There was a lot of depression going on. And that is part of it too. I can tell you from the group that we have started over the last few weeks, the emails that I get, the phone calls that I get, people suffering from a form of depression or another, the divorce rate. There are a lot of things that go along with this, with not being outside, with not being around others, with not being allowed to socialize.
Yeah.
There's harm in it as well. Again, we had to do what we had to do as a country. We had to do what we had to do as a state. And we've done that. And New York in particular has met every single goal that was put in front of us. So I guess we can get into that a little bit. But for me, New York has done what it was supposed to do. And, New Yorkers, key word there, New Yorkers, the people of New York should be proud.
I totally agree with you. And it's something to be said where you're talking about the depression, but something I know personally where people are addicted to habits. It's the reason that there's alcoholics. There's a reason that people really fall in love with something like that. And fitness, I'm sure you know from your own personal experience, is usually that positive outlook they go for. The people that have an alcohol problem, the people that have a drug problem, and they were stuck in that cycle because they were addicted, their backfall is usually the gym. And they become addicted with fitness and start living a happier, healthy life where they're pulling off all those things.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, you've taken that away from them.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of clients like that because it is a source for that addictive personality. It's just finding another outsource in a more positive way. So having that group dynamic that's there, again, holding yourself accountable. When people notice when you're not there, they actually reach out to find out why you're not there. I can tell you at the time, my one location, which was over 200 members, and my brand new location, which was about 120, 130 members, I know everyone. I just don't know them. I know their wives, their husbands, their children. I know when someone's sick. I know who broke a bone. I know when it's their anniversary. I know where they went for dinner. I know everything about them. When I don't see them for a few days, I reach out to them. Where are you? Are you okay? Is there anything I could do for you? Do you need something? And if it's not me reaching out to them, it's another member. So yes, that component of it, it does mean a lot. It does mean a lot to people. And that's why you find within our side of our gyms, you find marriages, connections, friendships, lifelong friendships, and all that type of stuff. So sure.
Yeah, it's something I was on a show recently talking to somebody about this. The culture inside of fitness and inside the gym world has always been a step ahead of the rest of society. Mm-hmm. And it's that reason exactly. You find lifelong friends in the gym. Totally honest, I met my fiance at the gym. So I totally get it. If I wasn't at that place at that time and she didn't have that motivation to show up to LA Fitness, actually right here in Smithtown, yep, then we never would have met.
My daughter-in-law met my son-in-law, and now I have a 1-year-old grandson out of that. So,
congrats.
Yes, relationships and those type of things are made, and friendships and bonds. So again, it is that community aspect of it, and again, which made us go back to being a professional service or essential, one of the two, not a recreation. That's not what we are.
I totally agree. And I kind of want to dive into a little more of the nitty gritty details.
Let's go.
So let's talk about COVID itself as a whole, as far as the exercise. So in your opinion, what have you seen the benefits of exercise related to COVID and the contact tracing results that they've pushed out? I know you've been talking to a lot of gym owners about that. So why don't you talk to us about that?
So for me, if you just look at some of the studies that they said about COVID, and if you look at the hospitalization rate and you look at the people who passed away, a majority of them were over a certain age, and then the other majority had comorbidities, obesity and diabetes. Those were the two big ones. I don't know of another industry that can actually impact that the way a gym can, or fitness can, or fitness professionals can. So part of my argument over being locked out of phase 4 was to take a step back and say, we all know that COVID is here. I do respect the disease. I do not think it's a myth. I'm not talking about any of that. But I do believe it's also here for some time to come. If vaccines aren't until next year, I'm not even too sure who's going to line up to be the first to take them. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So you could be talking 6 to 8 months after the vaccine, correct? If you really want to think about it, and if the numbers are true and the numbers are right on the people who are most affected, what could we have done over the 4 months to help people in the months to come be able to be healthy enough and have the immune system to fight it? Because isn't that what it's all about? At some point in time, we're all exposed to it. How our body reacts to it, it is very different. Some people just lose smell. Some people lose taste. Some people it just destroyed them. I mean, and then unfortunately some it took from us. So in that 4-month time period where we were shut down, if we could have been helping people, really helping people fight this, start to lose weight, eat proper, exercise regularly, think where we would have been. Now think of where we could have been come flu season and what will probably be COVID season, September through November. How many people could we have helped? How many people could we have saved? I don't know, because we were never given the opportunity, and we're still not given the opportunity to do that.
I can actually talk about exact numbers with you on that one.
Okay.
So back in, I don't know the exact date, but it was in April, New York State pushed out a chart showing the people who died from COVID. 86.2% of people that passed away had an underlying condition.
Okay.
All right. The number one condition that was listed where 55% of that 86 had is hypertension.
Mm-hmm.
The number 2, type 2 diabetes.
Right.
And nothing else came close.
Right.
What, in your professional fitness opinion, what's the cure to hypertension?
Everything that we do inside our 4 walls.
Everything.
Everything we do inside our 4 walls.
So it hurts me, and this is why I actually get upset, and people are like, Anthony, why are you so upset over this? Because in my eyes, I did this to save people's lives,
right,
and you're preventing me from doing that. And it's at the point now, we could have saved thousands of people.
Sure.
You put a gym across every single one, and we actually push fitness, how many people could we have saved and prevented from passing away? And then this mortality rate would have been even lower.
Well, that was my talking point really in the beginning. You know, when we were shut out and we were told we don't even know what you are, right? So that really was the talking point in the beginning, and I think panic set in. I want to believe that that's the reasoning behind all of it. That panic set in and everybody rushed to do certain things, no matter what we were saying. But now it has to be clear that there are certain industries and there are certain things that can be done effectively and safely and allow us to do our jobs. People don't get into the industry that we're in because you want to be a millionaire. That's not how
I don't know anybody.
That's not how this goes, right? For the most part, you're doing it because you actually do care. That your goal is to help people move better, live better, eat better, have healthier lives, be able to play with their kids, enjoy retirement, all that type of stuff, right? So that really was our goal, and it was a shame. And it is still a shame that we can't do our job.
It hurts. Like, I did this to help people. I did this to help save people's lives. We start talking about it, I'm thinking about stories where I had people come crying to me because all of a sudden, like, they're able to live better and feel better and move better, where I've had people tell me they've saved their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you get the same thing across your members, where why isn't that the case? Why isn't that something we're advocating for?
I don't know. I've had people come off of sleep apnea from coming to our gyms. I've had people that are in their 30s that are down in weight and feeling better that they don't remember from the time they were in 7th grade. And the feeling that we're able to give them from that, just from they're doing the work.
Yeah.
They're doing the work. We're there to help, to support, to guide, to program, to push, to be kind, to understand, to listen. We're a lot of things at a gym. Trainers are a lot of things. So, I agree with everything you're saying, and I just shake my head every day. That's all I can do is just shake my head.
What if you were in charge, right? This is something that, let's even go back pre-COVID, where we've been talking about this in our industry for a long time, the escalating issues of obesity and the underlying conditions that come from that people end up passing away from. What should we have done as a society pre-COVID to maybe help prevent that obesity rate from being so high, which in turn would have maybe prevented a lot more people from dying from this?
Well, I think that topic we can probably spend hours on.
I agree. I want a short, sweet.
I'll give you my cliff notes. We all know that there's big reason and there's a lot of money involved with keeping America heavy, right? There just is. But what things that can be done or should be done is the fitness industry should be looked upon from insurance companies and corporations as a health and wellness benefit, not just giving $50 per month towards a membership or $500 at the end of the year to go towards something. I believe that insurance companies should recognize us and they should be rewarding people for going to the gyms and covering those memberships. I think corporations should be getting benefits for having their employees belong to memberships and those tax breaks and those things being pushed upon to their employees. And then in benefit, the gyms get that in return. So we should be recognized by insurance companies as far as I'm concerned. I believe we are health and wellness professionals. I believe that we serve a great many purposes, and I think that if we could be recognized in that fashion, that would go a long way in starting to get people to come to the gym, to train, to be able to take one-on-one. I mean, think about someone who maybe has type 2 diabetes and they're extremely overweight. There's a lot of intimidation factor coming into the gym. It's just a fact. I know that we try to push that down and make people feel home, but it's a fact. What if insurance and companies covered that person? That person can come in and do a one-on-one. And then that person at some point in time would start to see, the results of that.
Yeah.
And then it starts with a slow burn. And then maybe they join the class and all that type of stuff. So I think we have to do better on the medical side of things and have fitness industry looked upon much, much differently.
It's something that's the reason I started my company. Fitness is medicine.
It is.
Trying to blend it together, all with my brother being a physician who's a physiatrist, and taking that from that point all the way to fitness. Why aren't we considered even on the same scale as therapists?
Right.
What's the difference between what we do and physical therapists?
Yeah, I mean, their degrees obviously carry a lot of weight. But again, we do serve a purpose in the community of keeping our members healthy, fit, and we do serve a purpose for trying to provide, health and wellness to them on a certain level.
Yeah.
And we are counselors, and we do a lot of that as well. So that is a big part of it.
I don't want to pull too much away from the topic. I kind of want to jump back into what's going on now. So I know you've been leading the charge all through how to kind of help gyms get open. And to be honest, from my own personal experience, you've been a rock for us to help
thank you.
Push and really push forward, because it's been confusing. As a gym owner, you're sitting there and you're like, well, what do I do? Who do I reach out to? How do I get help? And having your guidance push forward has really helped. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about what people can do to help support and what are some ways we can really push to help us get open?
Sure. So as everybody knows by now, Phase 4 on Long Island was on the 8th. We are now a week past that. We're going into 2 weeks. Gyms, movie theaters, and malls were taken out of Phase 4. Miraculously, somehow, malls got to be open, though. They did figure that out. We're all happy that you were able to do that. The most non-essential thing on the planet. But gyms and movie theaters are still out of Phase 4. And the answer that we were given, which was now 5 press conferences ago, maybe 6 press conferences ago from Governor Cuomo, was that certain things don't fit neatly into Phase 4. So if that's the case, whatever doesn't fit neatly into Phase 4, then every business that's currently open, nothing fits neatly. But yet everybody was being allowed to be opened and given their phase and given their shot, even though things didn't fit nicely. I don't know what fits nicely in COVID. What fits nicely? Nothing does. We were supposed to be going by the numbers, okay? The numbers were set out. We had a plan. Every 2 weeks, meet the numbers, boom, another phase. Meet the numbers, boom, another phase. Matter of fact, guys, I'm going to give up executive rights, and I'm going to turn all the power over to the municipalities. So the municipalities are going to make the decisions. As we got closer to Phase 4, guys, I have to take those powers back. And today, I am going to sign my executive power back. Great. Now we're kicked out of Phase 4.
You did that overnight, too,
Sure
actually.
did. Now we're kicked out of Phase 4. The problem that I have is that we waited. The numbers are still going down. So your answer to things don't fit neatly is a nothing answer. It has no merit. There's nothing to it. There's no validity to it. Then you want to throw out air conditioners. Again, that's the same problem that we've obviously had the whole entire time everybody else is open. So the mall, the restaurant, Target, Walmart, hospitals, planes, you name it, that's okay. They can be open. But the gym and the movie theater, this is where we draw the line, guys. So nothing fits right in his decisions. We have no guidance. There's no answer when we're going to open up except for indefinitely. What is that? Then there's no real answer to what's going to be done for us. If there's no Phase 5, then what are we supposed to do? And that's my question to the American people, to the New Yorkers. What are we supposed to do? Do you want us to turn the keys in and go belly up? Do you want us to lose our businesses, lose our homes, everything that we've built? Is that what you want? Is that the goal here? Because Phase 4 is over. The numbers are still down, but we're still not allowed to open up. And your answer doesn't hold water. It's not fair. It's insulting. Okay? And if you're hiding something, then you need to tell us. Because I got it, Dad. I don't need another one. And if Governor Cuomo wants to be my father, well, maybe we should have a talk about that. Because I just need him to say what it is, tell us the truth, or let us be opened. That's it. Let us be open. When does this end? We're going into 2 weeks past the date we could be open. I don't know what we're supposed to do. So we created a group. And that group turned into 10 to 50 to 2,000 to 4,000. We are over 2,000 gyms, which is almost every gym in the state of New York, by the way. And we formulated a group, and we filed a class action lawsuit that was filed last Wednesday. We also filed 3 other lawsuits in several other counties. And we're also filing a takings claim. So basically what we're asking for is due process and equality under the law. We weren't allowed our due process to be given the opportunity to open in phase 4, to show you that we could open safely, to show you that we can open up underneath the CDC guidelines. You didn't give us that right. So it's not equal. And then the takings clause is basically saying, you want us to stay closed? There's no phase 5? Well, now you got to start paying. Now we have bills to pay. Now you got to start paying. So buy me out, pay me, pay the landlords, pay my expenses, do something. 4 press conferences, not one question about gyms, gym owners, or small businesses. Not one.
0.
Okay?
I listened to every single one.
How is this okay to the American people? How is it okay to the New Yorkers? We're not saying this is phase 1, open us up. We're not waiting to phase 4 and we're going to do it anyway. There's no more phases, guys. So what are we supposed to do? Is this what everybody wants? Is this what we're supposed to be and become now? That just one man is just going to say what happens with no answers, no statistics, no data. The rest of the country we can't look at the rest of the country because according to Governor Cuomo, New York has been New York strong. We've been New York tough. What we did in New York, they're going to be talking about for decades. Really? They're going to be talking about it for decades. Huh, Governor Cuomo? That's what we're going to be talking about? Why don't you let us open then? You did such a bang-up job. Let us open. What are we waiting for? Why are you holding on to the power? Tell us what's going on. As you can see, the whole thing drives me absolutely
I can tell.
crazy.
It drives me insane. And I'm just sitting there every day just I'm getting calls from members. I'm getting calls from my trainers. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And it hurts being like, I don't know.
I couldn't take, I don't know. So we had to do something. So outside of doing that, what everybody can do, who is listening, who wants to help, I have been saying, right, your county executives, the senators, and the truth is, guys, it's fallen on deaf ears.
Oh,
it
personally, if hundreds of people do it,
it just is. So what I mean by that is, if everybody just wants to take a step back today and look at the Channel 12 news, and we discussed this a couple minutes before we went on. Today, you had the county executives, congressmen, senators, you name it, from all over go live. You're thinking, man, maybe we're going to talk about what's going on phase 4. Maybe we're going to talk about getting small businesses. No, we're not. You know what we're going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take this time. We're going to take this time to talk to the Fed, to tell the Fed to bail us out because we're not getting enough money in sales tax. Here's something for you. Who pays a lot in sales tax? The mall. They're open. They got open. Good job. Glad they're open. But that's what you took the time to talk about. So for everybody who keeps on saying, and we've taken these people in our gyms. They've been in our gyms. They've patted us on the back. They've basically said, your gyms are great. They're clean. I don't understand. That's all good lip service. But you had one opportunity now, everybody together, and you could have said something. You could have said, Governor Cuomo, you need to open these small businesses up in phase 4 and let them show you that they can meet the CDC guidelines set forth. You need to give them the opportunity. These businesses are dying. They're closing up every day. In the last 48 hours, we had over 20 businesses email me that they're closing their doors.
Wow. I don't know it was that high.
Okay. Since I started this, I can tell you it's 3 times that. And I'm getting more and more every single day. But instead, we want to beat up the federal government and we want to say, bail us out, bail us out, bail us out because we're bankrupt. I'm not saying that we're not going to need money in New York State because I don't know the finances in New York State.
They're hurting.
But I know that we're hurting. And if you represent us, then you need to speak for us. And Governor Cuomo should hear us. He should recognize us. He should take a $10 billion industry and say, I may want to address this, not be like persona non grata. I don't even know who you are in every presser. So I would say reach out to them. You can send things to Governor Cuomo. You can find us on Facebook. Join our group. You can donate to it. We are paying for legal fees. We are also going to be doing other things as we move forward. We're going to be fighting for status to become professional services, if not essential. We're going to take this group and we're going to do a lot more with it. We're going to try to help the businesses who are hurting right now that can't pay their bills. We're going to see how many we can keep in business. We're going to start to try to make a coalition with landlords and see if we can get them involved somehow and see just as if we can help the community as a whole. And when I mean the community, I'm talking about the fitness community. I'm talking about all the owners, the gym owners out there. We care about our members individually, but us as a whole right now, no matter whether you're yoga, Pilates, CrossFit, dance, strength and training, martial arts, kickboxing, cycling, F45s, Orange Theories, big gyms, it doesn't matter. We're all fitness professionals. And at this point in time, we all need to band together. And for the first time, we've done that.
I have applauded everyone on the back for it. It's insane. I've seen the fitness community be tight, but this has brought it to a whole new level. Our competitors always talk to like the people in your local area, like, oh, don't, it's not like that anymore.
No, it's not.
They're your best friends because we are all in the same freaking boat. We're all just trying to survive. And it's, how can I help you? How can I help you? Today alone, I was trying to write something and someone's reaching out. Hey, Anthony, I want to help you. I know what you're doing. Can you please get me involved?
Yeah, so that's been great to have. Plus, it's an outsource now. You'd be surprised how many people we have within our communities who are lawyers and doctors, have contacts from all sorts of walks of life who have reached out to help in so many ways. So when you do reach that amount of people, there is a lot of good that you can do if we all kind of stay together. And if we stay together, we are a large voice, and we represent everybody in the industry. So if anybody wants to help, that's really the way to help. Support your gym. If your gym is doing something with Zoom, if your gym has outside classes, do your best to support them and stay with them, even if it's half the monthly, whatever it is. Buy a shirt. I don't know. Post them on Instagram. Talk about them. Come on board. Give $10 to the fund. Help us fight. Speak up. Those type of things, that can actually help us directly, and that can help us immediately. And if we're together as one for the first time, there's a lot of things that we can do. And we are making it happen. And hopefully we have a decision this week.
I really hope so, man. Pushing for it. And like you said, just everyone needs to work together. Everyone needs to come together. Help your local gym. I don't care who they are, especially the mom and pop shops. Like, we need to survive.
We need to survive, but we also need to, this is the other part that kind of goes with it. You know, we need to let the public know that this is not about trying to open up illegally. This is not about trying to open up before we were allowed. We're not even saying, and if anybody's listened to me on TV or in any interview that I've done, I am very happy that businesses were allowed to be opened. It is a great thing to get the economy back up and running. So restaurants and all that, good for them. They had their chance. They're opened. It's awesome. We're just asking to be opened up in our phase. So that's very important for everybody out there. We are not dirty gyms, okay? We're not, guys. And we are working on having a set standard to have gyms be graded at a certain way so that when people come in, they know that a gym has met a certain standard. We're working on that.
Thanks to Kevin Godfrey, by the way. He's done a great job.
Kevin is part of that plan, and we have a meeting tomorrow with Kevin, and hopefully we can put something together and we can actually get the local officials involved so that we can have some sort of grading system across the state. So that is something that we're working on. But we are doing everything that we're supposed to. So this is not about asking for more. No one here is arguing anything about the phases that we had or we're in. So this is about just being allowed to show you guys that we can open, and we're allowed to, we're supposed to, and now we're not. So I think it's very important for the public to understand that, because public opinion matters, and it matters a lot to me. It matters a lot to my community. So I want everybody to really know that and pay attention to that.
I appreciate that. And how can someone get a hold of you looking to reach out, help?
So if anybody wants to find us, you can find us on Facebook. We are the Fitness Industry versus New York Class Action Lawsuit. You can find us on there. And we will shortly be renaming that to the NYFC, which is the New York Fitness Coalition.
I love the name.
Thank you. So you can find us on there. In there, once you get on there, you do need to ask approval to be in. But once you're in, there's emails in there where you can reach. My phone number is on there where you can reach if you're looking to help in any which way, or if you are someone who is connected in the media, if you are someone who has any connections with attorneys and web developers and all those type of things, you can help us there. But you can find all the gyms on there. We have a video that we're going to be putting up, and someone keeps on putting together each and every day. We're almost at 600 gyms on this video. So you can go on there. You can look for a gym that might be in your area. You can give them a shout out. You can give them a follow. You can talk about them. So there's many ways just organically that you can kind of come and help.
And please do, guys. That's all we can ask for. But thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Health and Fitness Redefined. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and join us next week as we dive deeper into this ever-changing field. And remember, fitness is a journey, not a destination. Thanks so much for coming on, Charlie. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Andrew.